This episode of the Party Loaded podcast is proudly sponsored by Audible.com. Check out their awesome catalogue of audiobooks with over 180,000 titles to choose from. And be sure to grab a free audiobook on us and support the show by visiting audibletrial.com/endgame.
Let's party.
Welcome back to Party Loaded. This is episode 24 for the 4th of May, or May the 4th be with you. Of course, we have myself, Luke Retallick, and I'm joined by a bunch of scruffy-looking nerd herders by the name of Ollie. If he's there somewhere. Ollie!
Oh, you can't hear me doing that?
We can.
Yeah.
I was doing the Star Wars thing.
Yeah.
Because it's May the 4th. I was just going to be a background guy.
You were either doing the Star Wars thing or having an aneurysm, so...
Aww. Hello, everybody. Speaking on me already.
So, speaking of picking on people, hi, Imogen.
Hello.
I'm not going to pick
I'm
on
in
you.
a great mood.
Impartial, generated voice.
Yeah.
And we have Jam
Everything is fine.
in the background somewhere. So, all right, all of you on the spot right now, favourite Star Wars movie, go. Ollie.
Force Awakens.
Ooh, interesting. Imogen?
Also, Force Awakens.
Wow, okay. And Jam?
I'm not playing this game.
Oh, really?
I don't know if I have a favourite.
Okay, interesting.
Actually,
I love different ones for different reasons. There's like nostalgia, and then there's
I'm going to change mine to Empire Strikes Back.
Yeah, okay.
I'm going to change mine to that.
yeah.
That way all the nerds will be happy with me.
Yeah.
And I'll be like, oh my god, you can't like J.J. Abrams, you fuck. He just made the same movie again. So yeah,
I
Empire
don't give a
Strikes
fuck.
Back
I
for me.
still like the most recent one.
Yeah.
Whatever.
Look,
Think what you like, nerds.
I love Force Awakens, but I personally believe there's only one right answer to that question, and Ollie got it, so yeah.
I thought you were going to say Return of the Jedi and I was going to punch you.
No. It's an opinion. You can't have the wrong opinion. You can't have an opinion
you
wrong
can.
than me.
There's that meme of Han Solo. It's like, you either like Star Wars or you're wrong.
It's true. So did you guys do anything appropriate to celebrate the great day of nerddom today? Anything Star Wars themed?
I had work.
You had work, okay. Did you manage to cram anything Star Warsy into your work?
I cut up eyes.
Oh, that
not
was
very
the
Star
worst
Wars-y.
part of school.
No, that sounds more Hellraiser-y than Star Wars-y, but sure.
Yeah. That was about it, really.
Mildly disturbing. What about you ladies? Did you do anything? Or was it...
I launched one of my programs today, and I wrapped up the session with May the 4th be with you. And I got a round of applause.
Oh, nice.
Well done.
Thank you.
Cool. Nice. All right. Well, I don't know what else we could sort of say about Star Wars today. I mean, it's kind of the same every year. There was some big announcements last year about sort of upcoming movies and things, but it's been remarkably quiet on the old cinema front.
Rogue
today.
One! Fucking
No.
yeah!
Yeah.
Lego Star Wars Force Awakens
Fucking
cannot wait.
yeah!
Yeah. That
A bunch of Star Wars games are on sale right now too.
Yeah!
Have you got any favorite Star Wars games? Actually, like. Probably the only one that I can recall in recent times was the MMO, the
Fucking-
Knights of the Old Republic. No, just the Old Republic, rather. Got right.
Yeah, that
X-Wing
was
versus TIE Fighter, man. Old school.
Yeah, that was cool. You,
Was that the
deflector
racing one? I
fields.
think that's the only one I played.
No, X-Wing versus TIE Fighter is the spaceship fighty one.
No, that's not the one that I
dogfighting
played
one.
then.
Yeah, that's an old game now. That's like over a decade, I think.
I know, and it's fucking amazing.
Yeah, it is cool.
Hurry up and make a HD remake.
Yeah, absolutely. Right, well, other than Star Wars video games, we should probably tuck into some discussion about the other games that we've been playing. So, I might break from traditions, and I'll start today if that's okay with you guys. So, I'll
Eh.
yeah. Oh, so enthusiastic. Thank you. Thank you. All right. The Overwatch open beta has just commenced, so I've been playing a whole bunch of that in the last 48 hours. No, more like 24 hours. So had a little bit of a hiccup with that initially because I did the pre-purchase of the game a few weeks ago, and with the pre-purchase of the game, you're supposed to get a access key for yourself and one for a friend, and mine never arrived. So that was just awesome. And
That's so funny because
Oh,
like
it's annoying.
I I literally, I think, just squeezed in within the last hour, and I got mine.
I got mine as well.
And people who went to like brick and mortar stores and picked up physical pre-orders, well, I guess, it's not a physical copy yet because they don't have it, got theirs emailed to them straight away too from like EB Games and
not
stuff.
even.
And
I
didn't get
benefited from Simo's code, and he only put a 10% deposit down on the game.
Oh, bloody hell, yeah. Well, Ollie hooked me up, so thanks for that, bro. That was good.
You are welcome.
Yeah, I was kind of expecting it to be linked to our accounts, and when Imogen and I did the beta weekend a few weeks ago, because we didn't get any codes for that or anything. It was just like linked to our Battle.net straight up. But no,
So
everybody
special.
got codes. But that fortunately meant that I got sent 2 fresh codes, even though I'd used one that Ollie gave me. So I had 2 to give to other friends, which was kind of cool. So jumping back in feels like putting on a comfortable glove and enjoying the game all over again. I won't talk much about it because I think Imogen and I did a great job of that a few episodes ago. But I'm really keen to hear what Ollie and Jam think about it now that you guys have had a chance. So what else? A bit more time in Stardew Valley. Haven't made a huge amount of progress in there, but I did make a gameplay video, which is now up on YouTube during the week. So I'll put a link up to that somewhere on the blog and people can check that out. So that was cool. What else? Stacks of Hearthstone this week. I won't go into details, but suffice to say the new expansion is awesome. And the metagame at the moment is all over the place, which means that all the decks are exciting, which is cool. Played some Move or Die with you guys, which was super fun. And after you spoke about this game last week, I hopped on and tried it out and lost probably a ridiculous amount of time in it, which is the Slither.io browser game.
Oh, I still haven't tried that.
Oh my god, it is deceptively
Do
addictive.
it now, Imogen.
Yeah.
No,
You
my
can play it
keyboard's
during the
so
podcast.
loud. No, I can't. I really can't do more
Doesn't
than one
make
thing at once.
any-
Breathing and talking and looking at my screen do things is really difficult, guys.
Well, for me, it was mostly a fairly solid, consistent shit show. But I had one great game where I made it to number 3 on the server, and I was up around 22,000 something.
God damn it.
So
Better than
Nice.
I've done.
yeah, it was pretty cool. It was pretty cool. And then I just did something really stupid and clicked the wrong button on my mouse and exited the window and died because I'd lost the game as opposed to actually dying. So that was lame. Yeah.
Bullshit. Quit death?
Yeah, pretty much. That was it. Yep. Well, that was my week. So, Ollie, what about you? How was your game?
I played some Rocket Larg. Mm-hmm. And I'm slowly doing the aerial training so that I stop annoying the people we play with.
So is the hoops still a thing, or is that a limited
Oh, hoops
time?
is definitely a thing. Hoops is great fun. I am a huge fan of that game mode. It's just good. And it's nice and different. Nice. It's relaxing.
Is it a permanent addition to the game, or is it just a promotional
Yes,
period?
it is a
thing?
permanent edition.
Okay.
Similar to the Snow Day with the puck.
Yep.
It is a permanent edition.
Sweet.
And then I played some... I actually only played 2 games. That's a bit sad, actually. That's unfortunate. And then I played, for the first time, Overwatch.
All right.
So, I like it. I'm not going to lie. I do have some pros and cons. But that's okay. So, for me, I'll start with the cons, finish on a high note. I don't think, and some people will hate me for this, but I don't think all the characters are viable.
Okay.
I think
agree.
there are clearly stronger and weaker choices in the character selection. And like some really no-brainers depending on your map, like what your objective is for the game, I should say. Some of the... Actually, no. This is both a con and a pro. So there are some definitive, like, bottleneck points in the maps that can get shut down really easily, but they all have at least one way around them that I've seen, at least. Sometimes 2.
Particularly
Yeah,
if you've
and-
got aerial moving characters.
Oh, I'm not counting them because they're cheatsy doodles.
Okay.
Strictly for the ground pounders. So I like that. They've gone, okay, here's a choke point. All right, we'll let you have a way out of it still. So that was nice. I liked it. But yeah, for me it is essentially TF2 with heroes instead of classes, even though there are classes of heroes. Ugh. But done better. It is TF2 in my opinion, but done better.
Okay.
And I'm okay with that. And so I like it.
So, big question for you. Which characters do you consider to be completely not viable at the moment?
From what I've seen, and bear with me, this has been like one afternoon. Winston. Every time we came up against Winston, he just sort of just went, "Oh, I'm dead," without really doing much.
Okay.
So Winston didn't seem that crash hot, and I'm sure there'll be people going, "Oh my god, but he's the best tank," and I'll be like, "Yep, okay, I believe you." From my experience, though. What was the other one that wasn't that crash hot?
Symmetra, maybe?
Lucio.
Oh, yeah,
or
yeah.
Lucio. He just seems to have a really high learning curve, which is why I don't think I saw very much of him. But apparently he's amazing. Like, I've heard he's amazing, but I haven't seen it yet. And that's okay. And then, what was the other one? Oh, the bomb guy with the peg leg. I've forgotten his name.
Oh, Junkrat.
Junkrat.
Yep.
Junkrat. Yeah, he just seems
Or
pointless.
trash bag, as I just called him in a match just then.
Yeah, he just seems pointless. Like,
Okay.
I don't get the point of him. Like, yes, he does AoEs, that's cool, but there's other guys that do it, and they seem to do it better. So, and considering that's only, 2 or 3, that's not that bad, actually.
He's
And
quite
I
a hard character.
Didn't
to
see
play, though.
any of Genji, the ninja guy, so I don't know enough about him to make a call on him yet.
That's a really weird point, actually, because when Imogen and I played a few weeks ago, he was freaking everywhere, but I've not seen him yet in the
Everyone
last
was
day or
always,
so.
yeah, agreed.
Yeah, that is weird.
Well, certainly not played for very long. I've seen a couple of people start with him, but then very quickly change out.
Yeah.
I imagine that, and this is always my problem with mixed range and melee classes. Melee classes, unless they have a form of TP or speed boost, TP for teleport, sorry, or speed boost, they just suffer versus range classes because they try to get in, and by the time they get there, they're half dead. Whereas this guy is the ninja's still a ranged character at least because he has his shurikens and that's his main form, but you feel like you have a giant sword, you probably should get in.
Yeah.
Like, likewise, if Reinhardt didn't have his super shield thing, I would not play him. No.
Yeah. I think it's
That's just my thoughts.
It's a fair comment depending on the maps as well, because I think some of the maps
yeah,
have
definitely.
big, long alleyways where there's really not a lot of range of choice for hiding and ducking through cover. But yeah, the ones that do, obviously.
On a super positive note, any game, in my opinion, that makes so many people, like this was a constant thing on our group chat of, oh my god, did you see that just then? Like, any game that can repeatedly do that in the same match over and over and over again consistently is a good game. So, yeah, no. I am very, very happy with it. And I pulled off some bullshit plays yesterday, and so I'm going to be playing it after the podcast.
Nice. Cool. Are you still Dark Soulsing, or is that on hold for the moment?
I haven't gone over that person's house, so on hold for the moment.
Yeah, fair call.
I should probably just buy a console at some point, but that requires effort.
All right, so newly free Imogen, or are you? You've finished your
Sort of.
Oh,
studies, but
Finished my study, but then got
Whizzed.
very busy with work. So that's all right. That it swings and roundabouts, and my
Frying
job is
pan,
great,
fire.
so it's
Yeah.
fine. Exactly right.
yeah,
But I did manage to get some time in for games. I got 0 time in for games in the week that I took off, so that was a big reason for me not appearing last week, as I would have nothing to talk about. I played, obviously, Overwatch. I'm very thankful to Simo for his key, and I think that puts Simo equal with Dave in terms of mentions in the podcast at this stage, which he'll be very happy with. But it was good. The one thing that I've noticed is that in playing the maps, it's very difficult to understand what character you need to play. Like you guys are talking about picking things on purpose for specific maps, but if you don't know what the map is, it's very hard to choose a character sort of straight up.
yeah.
So that's one thing that I'm noticing. It would make it difficult for, Ollie and Jam, who are jumping in for the very first time on most of the maps. Other than that, because you guys will talk, I've talked about that way too much the week before last. We played Move or Die again, which was lots of fun. Played with someone who was very good and stopped loving my favourite hat mode. Did not enjoy hat mode anymore because I did not get to wear the hat.
Damn it, Ari.
Yeah,
I'm glad
Ari's
of that because
stupid
I
hat-wearing
hate
skills.
that game.
Oh, I hate that. I love the hat wearing one.
Oh, hat
I
mode's
Love
like
me
suck
some
my
at
good
it.
least
millinery.
favourite. Yeah.
Yeah, so that was a shame. But that was sort of good, and it's one of those games that we'll just sort of pick up when there's a bunch of us on. And then, of course, I played our game of the month because I wanted to have it fresh in my mind.
Oh, yeah.
So we can talk about that later.
I did that as well. Whoops.
I did play that also. And
You sound so happy about it.
I have thoughts. We will get onto that later. Jam, how is yours during the week? How was your games?
I played a bit of all of the usuals, but Overwatch was the new one for me this week, and I really enjoyed it. We got 10 people on last night, 10 actual real-life people we know
was
and
a
are
big
friends
group.
with.
Which was both fun and incredibly frustrating.
Yeah, we ended up with a very lopsided...
It wasn't
Set
that
it.
lopsided.
It was pretty lopsided,
Oh.
and you guys just bitched out and went, what turrets? What's the character?
Bastion.
No, it was the
Bastion.
There are a few,
Bastion
there are a
and
few moments where
the
Ollie
shield.
and
Oh
I...
no! If only the times when we were defending had a defensive character pretty much purpose built for that mode. Oh
Except
wait,
all the people
there
we were
was.
playing with, had never played defense before.
Yeah, I was flicking
Neither.
between characters.
Yeah, I
and-
played at least 4 games with you in defense before we played those games, Ollie.
Oh no, that's
At
fair,
least.
but that was literally the first time I picked up the game.
Yeah, we
You go,
had some
I'm
experience.
defensive. I'll pick the
and Dave
defensive
had none.
character.
Jam and Dave had none.
So yeah, I've got to play a bunch more. I need to learn the maps and the characters and spend some time with them to figure out what I enjoy, what I'm good at, and what complements our regular group well. And I'm looking forward to it.
So are we in a position where we could do a very, very quick round the table and say what our favourite Overwatch character is currently?
No, dude, I know like
Yes.
2 names so far,
Yeah.
and I've played maybe 5.
Okay. Ollie, do you have a current favourite?
Bastion, Reinhardt, and Soldier 76.
Okay. Nice narrowing down. Imogen?
Easy. My favorite character would be Mercy.
Mercy?
But
Yeah.
I've
Still Mercy,
been
yeah.
playing out Diva. So at the moment, I was just concentrating on the last couple of games, just staying as a tank because I'm not very good at the shooting. But I love being Mercy, the healer. It's so much fun. I love it.
Nice.
But it's
Well,
not good if you don't have a tank.
No, it really does work fantastically well with the right other team picks. I definitely agree with you there.
Bastion or Reinhardt. Like I had some good matches with Ollie as Reinhardt and me as Mercy, which was just buttloads of fun.
I liked playing Diva when you were Mercy on my team. That was good.
Yeah, because I'm that good.
Yeah.
Not really. I'm really not that great. But it's the only thing that I'm better at in Overwatch.
Well, I'm still loving Farah. I think she's a lot of fun, a lot of mobility, and just having a rocket launcher, is great. I'm enjoying Mei and Bastion quite a bit as well. So there's a good round group of characters there which have a few different roles. So that's cool. Yeah. Oh, so Jam, we interrupted you. What else have you been playing during the week?
Oh, just the usuals. Move or Die, which we've mentioned. That was hilarious. Stardew Valley, Slither, Rocket League. Got some... Hoops is really funny when the
Hoops?
bounce on the ball is like arced way up because you take a shot at their goal and the level is so small, it starts flying at your own. You're like, no! So that was hilarious. But yeah, that was my week.
Nice. All right. Well, I think we're going to have a stack more Overwatch play in the next week, which will be sweet. So, and we've got, like you mentioned, a really, really solid group of friends checking the game out as well. So I got to say, over the last few days, my Battle.net friends list has never been so active. It's just been crazy. Between that and the new
Yeah,
season of
true.
Diablo
It's because he
starting up.
doesn't have friends.
Oh, we've got a bit of, speaking of which, though, we do have a bit of a problem which we had with Heroes of the Storm when we had our heyday in Heroes of the Storm, the game we will never play again.
Lies.
Where we just had, like, every now and again, because it's teams of 6, so every now and again we'll just get that 7th person just pop on and go, oh, okay, so there's no room in the team. All right, no worries, guys. So speak to you later. Bye. It's just kind of weird and
I'm
awkward.
going to have
So we had
fun
that-
not playing the game now.
Yeah, so we kind of got to the stage last night where a couple people jumped off and I said, I'll play a couple more games. And then we realized that there was someone just being super quiet in the chat who hadn't spoken up and said they wanted to play. So I was like, that's all right, guys. I should really be in bed. I'll go.
Yeah.
So
But at least
it's
the
going to be a
Overwatch
bit of a
matches
trade-off.
the Overwatch matches are a bit, quickish compared to Heroes matches, so it's probably less waiting time.
Yeah, that's true as well. And, what an awful problem to have. We have too many friends to play games with.
Yeah.
We're just too popular.
Oh, my God.
Guys, stop it.
Guys.
Absolutely. All right. Well, let's kick into some news, and we can probably start with Overwatch because, of course, it is probably one of the key topics of the week. But the launch of the open beta wasn't without a small hiccup, and that is that Blizzard announced pretty much on the eve of the beta opening up that they were pulling the competitive play mode from the game. So they posted a message on the Battle.net blog and basically reads, "Hey everyone, we worked extremely hard to get competitive play in the game for closed beta. We've been reading feedback from the community and taking it all to heart, and as a result, we've temporarily disabled competitive play for open beta so that we can rework the system and make it better. Our plan is to bring back a newly redesigned version of competitive play sometime after Overwatch launches." So what are your thoughts on that, guys? Does it concern you that they're pulling something this close to launch, or is that a sign of a company doing the right thing and polishing the game?
Doing the right thing. The only concerning thing about the statement is the last part, which is sometime after the game launches. So that means competitive play won't be ready on launch. So like not having it in beta, like people can be as upset as they want, but it's beta, people, which means that the game is not complete. So you expect these sorts of things, but the fact that they're basically confirming that it won't be ready for release at this stage is not great. It doesn't bother me. I'm not going to be, going for ranks and all that kind of stuff. But not brilliant. But if they need to, I'd rather they release a working game or a working mode rather than a broken one.
Yeah, Arkham Knight.
Yeah.
Oh, Batman. What? No, I completely agree. I'd rather they do it properly and it takes a little bit longer than they rush it out and it's a piece of shit.
Yeah.
Agreed.
I think it's a common story with Blizzard and competitive play, because I think the Heroes of the Storm competitive play was reworked a bit after launch as well. And even Hearthstone, the ranking ladders in Hearthstone saw a bit of a transition period where they changed the way that worked after the game launched. So it's not a unfamiliar story as far as where Blizzard's concerned.
And they're designing it's a new age, I guess, in a way. It has been for a little while, where devs are having to, or big game houses are having to build games for esports now. So competitive play is going to have to be on point and making sure that they catch any sort of hacks or anything like that, or making sure it's really solid so that ranking can be used for esports later down the track.
Yeah, which is cool. So I think that having some progressive goalposts will be good for players who get to the point where they've opened up stacks and stacks of loot boxes and got all of the skins and voiceovers and sprays and things they could possibly want. It just gives them that added extra incentive. So, although that being said, there is a stack of that stuff, so I think it's going to take quite a while to fill up your quota.
Oh god damn! Yeah.
I can just every single loot box I've opened, none of them have been Mercy, and she's the only one. I'm like, I want all of their skins.
I've already unlocked one of her skins, and I'm just like, oh fuck.
Which one did you get? Wasn't the no, wasn't the devil one?
No, God no, no, it wasn't any of the high end ones.
All right. Well, sounds like a cool thing to look forward to. All right, what else we got in the big items this week? Call of Duty. Yeah. So I know that we don't have any massive Call of Duty fans amongst this group, but they did release the trailer for the new Infinite Warfare game, which I think we mentioned briefly last week. And they have confirmed as well that the remaster of Modern Warfare will be shipping with Infinite Warfare when it is released. So this is a really interesting one for the Call of Duty franchise in general, because it looks like the first true venture into a sci-fi setting for a COD game. And the trailer that they launched has a lot of sci-fi elements in it. Like, there even looks like there might be some space dogfighting involved in the game, possibly. Which
Not even might be. No, there is.
Is definitely in there? Cool.
Yeah.
So
if you watch the trailer, you can see it.
What's everyone's thoughts on that? Are you actually interested in playing a Call of Duty game, or is this more of the same that just makes you think it's another COD game? Why do I care?
Yeah, I have zero interest.
Yeah.
If the game actually is a good game, I will play it. If it's the same Call of Duty they just push out each time, I will not. It is as simple as that.
Well, based on history, if my brother gets it and plays it, I'll be watching him play it, because that's entertaining. But me, nah, no good.
It just also reminds me of Battlefield 2142, and everyone knows how well that game went.
Mm-hmm.
Ooh. So, but it does have the Call of Duty franchise name behind it, so it'll still sell 1 million fucking copies.
Yeah.
Infinite Warfare just sounds like the worst. If you ever get to a stage where it's Infinite Warfare, you're in for some trubs.
Tell that to the Transformers.
Yeah.
Pretty much. I think it's a play on the studio name, though, because I think the studio behind it is called Infinite Studio or something, or Infinite Studios, or Infinity Studios, or something like that. Yeah, I'm sure I've got the name wrong, but it was a direct tie-in to that. Like, I actually, for the first time in a long time, I saw this trailer and I thought, I might actually play this game. The last
Infinity Ward, Luke.
Infinity War, that's the right. Yeah. So the last COD game that I played was Black Ops 2, and I enjoyed that quite a bit. But I mean, I've never been a massive Call of Duty guy, mostly because I find that the games are uber competitive shooters, and I'm just not that great when it comes to FPS games. There are exceptions. I think I'm probably better at Overwatch than I am at just about any other FPS game, just due to the fact that I think it's a bit more forgiving with some of the options that you've got. But I'm certainly not expecting to be as good as some of the other people we game with at those sorts of things. But yeah, no, it looks cool. The stories in like the narrative modes in most of the Call of Duty games seem to have been okay. So even if the multiplayer aspect doesn't sort of capture my fancy too much, I would probably play through the single player campaign and enjoy that at least.
Yeah, Modern Warfare was a great single player game.
Yeah,
I loved that. It was genuinely good.
Nice. How long did the campaign actually run when you played it?
Oh god, it's been a while, dude. No idea.
Was it like a 20-hour type thing, or was it a really decent chunk?
I could not say. I remember most of the levels, but I don't remember how long it took me.
Okay.
I remember playing it through twice.
All right.
It was good enough for me to play through it twice.
Well, that's saying something then, I suppose. All right. So speaking of sci-fi related games, we also had a announcement which sort of came out of the blue, caught me by surprise a little bit, and a pretty, in my opinion, awesome looking trailer. Not so much in Ollie's opinion, but we'll talk about that in a sec. Yeah. For Dawn of War 3. So it's the next game in the Dawn of War franchise, which is the real-time strategy game set in Games Workshop's Warhammer 40,000 setting. Now, this has an interesting history behind it because the original 2 Dawn of War games were published by Relic in conjunction with THQ, and the THQ is an Australian studio which, of course, shut down a number of years ago, and all of its properties were bought out by Sega. So we're actually seeing that intellectual property now brought back to light under their banner, which is cool. So, but I don't think anyone was really paying attention to when that might happen. So this was a bit of a surprise for a lot of people.
Yeah. They basically went, "There's going to be an announcement," and everyone's like, "Ooh, what?"
Yeah.
And then trailer came out. It's like, cool.
I really, really enjoyed the first Dawn of War game. That was a super sweet RTS. I thought it was great fun.
The second was strictly superior, though.
The second one was superior in some ways, but as an RTS, it was a very different game, and I think that didn't meet a lot of people's expectations because they were hoping for more of the same.
I think that's why it was a good game.
Maybe. I can kind of appreciate that Dawn of War 2 was a technically better game, but I enjoyed playing the first one more, just because of the huge variety of
You are
stuff
allowed
available.
your opinion, even though it's wrong.
It's not even an opinion. I'm stating the fact that I enjoyed something more. God damn it. Yeah, did you play both of them?
I have, yes.
You have, yeah. So, yeah, I mean, Dawn of War 2 was quite a while ago now. I think we're talking nearly a decade. It's been ages. But they've sort of said with their plans for Dawn of War 3, they're planning on taking the best elements of both of the previous games. So we might see a return to the true RTS model with a lot of the enhancements with the gear and equipment sort of models of the second one.
Yeah, I'm intrigued to see how they pull that off. Because the scale is they've got the super heavy walkers in there now, and so that sort of lends itself to a certain scale of battle that you kind of don't want tons and tons of customization for, because then it just bogs the game down.
Yeah.
So I'm intrigued to see how their balancing act goes between level of detail and customization and scale of conflict.
Yeah. How they can make everything, capture the theme of the world without throwing out the gameplay elements just for spectacle's
essentially.
sake. Yeah. Yeah, no, it will be interesting. It's almost the same challenge and complication they've had with the tabletop game in a lot of ways. So
pretty much.
Yep. But I am more curious as to how, in this day and age of real-time strategy games kind of having had their heyday, how they can continue to keep that genre relevant with a new entry. So, I mean, when was the last time we actually saw a successful RTS? It was probably StarCraft, I think.
StarCraft 2 was the last big one.
Yeah, yeah.
Trying to think if there's anything more modern than that. Oh, StarCraft, Heart of the Swarm, yeah.
Yeah, still StarCraft, still the same sort of thing. I mean, Legacy of the Void was probably the most recent
yes, that's
release.
what I was trying to think of.
Yeah.
Yep, Legacy of the Void.
Yeah.
Apart from that, yeah, can't really think of it to me.
So, Imogen, you were previously a bit of an RTS fan, but you're probably more familiar with older games in that genre, aren't you?
Yeah, more into the old school, and it never really came out of it. So Age of Empires, etc. But
actually,
not
Imogen,
really interested in the new ones.
Do you like giant spaceships?
No.
Ah,
I hate
you like-
space as a genre.
Do you like
Generally.
Man of War, like English versus Spanish naval fleet style thing?
Yeah, I could play
Okay,
that.
mix that with giant spaceships, that's Battlefleet Gothic Armada game.
Ooh,
Yeah,
And
I'll look
RTS.
into that.
I'm
Okay.
keen to check that out also.
It is good.
Cool. All right, well,
What about XCOM? Would XCOM not be in that?
No, it's
XCOM
not. It's more squad strategy than RTS, I'd say.
Yeah, I think the setting and the theme, probably has a few links, but yeah, the gameplay completely not. Very, very different. Yeah. So, Ollie, what's going on in the world of the Division?
It's still broken.
Yep.
News at 9.
Cannot believe it is still broken.
No. They've announced a new incursion, which you need a minimum gear score of 220, which is fine because everyone that's cheats
got
doodle their way
240.
into it already, so that's fine. They don't give a shit about that already. That's great. And yeah, there's still fuckloads of hackers and people that exploit stuff because they're not fixing it.
So the latest I saw today was that apparently the weekly missions have just been dropping off the face of the planet altogether, and people not being able to complete them in game, which sounds awesome. It's exactly the sort of game that I want to play.
Yeah,
I
it
am
had
so
such promise,
surprised.
but it's just
Honestly, I said it beforehand. Like, I thought you guys would still be playing this game. Like, it would
So
be like,
did
oh,
I.
I want to play Overwatch, but I want to play the Division, but there's Overwatch or something like that. But no,
yeah,
not at
that's
all.
what I was hoping for as well. Don't worry.
I thought I would still be playing a game that wasn't broken as shit. Yeah.
But then now here's the thing: they could be doing tons of background stuff against hackers and tracking hackers down and banning them and whatnot, but we're not seeing it because they're not actually going, look, we've banned X number of players, or look at all this stuff we're doing. It just looks like they're doing nothing, even though they might be doing something. If that makes any sort of sense.
Well, they have said that they've banned a whole bunch of accounts over the last week or so, but the problem with policing a player base like that is that really, if they're doing their job properly, they should be doing it behind closed doors and not making it immediately obvious that there is a problem with hacking and that kind of thing. Because as soon as people see fire, they think that the whole world's burning, where it may only just be like a small section of the populace that they're trying to deal with as quietly as possible. The bigger you make it seem, and the more of an example you try and make of those people, the more problems it causes, because it becomes, evident that they can't possibly catch everybody. Certain people are still getting away with it, and it just creates controversy where maybe there's no need for it. So, they're kind of making.
There's
Except
definitely
that
a need
the
for
common thing when you say
controversy.
Division, the thing with the Division is that would be fine if people weren't overwhelmingly saying it is still broken.
Yeah, that is true.
There's another fire going on that they're ignoring.
Oh look, it's the daily. Check out this hacker guy teleporting his way around and murdering everyone.
Yeah.
Awesome.
They should make that one of the Operation Isaac objectives. This week's objective:
Like kill a hacker.
Kill a hacker. Yeah, exactly. You want a challenge? Try killing a mofo that has like infinite ammo, or can just headshot you with one bullet for an insta kill. That would be a challenge, and actually relevant to trying to make the game a better place. Should be good.
Hackers v hackers.
Yeah.
Oh god.
So, Jam, you haven't mentioned Division in a while. Have you been back and played it at all since the first incursion, or is that not
No.
had any interest for you?
I haven't.
No.
It's other games have taken my interest, and everyone else stopped playing because of all of the problems. So I thought, well, I'm not going to go play by myself. The in-game content is stuff I want to enjoy with friends.
And it's all designed to be multiplayer stuff
Yeah.
as well.
Yeah.
So that's
That
a
is
shame.
fair.
Because I'm not geared up properly.
Yeah. Well, the new incursion, at the very least, is themed around the Rikers faction, which are all the prison escapees. And the goal of it apparently is to disable a surface-to-air missile system to secure the Manhattan airspace. So I am really hopeful that it's an actual mission involving some decent strategy and objective points to overcome.
Not just horde mode.
Not just 15 waves of dudes. Yeah, that would be great. So a little bit more, inventive thinking behind the design would be good.
I agree. I would like that very much.
Yeah. Cool. All right, well, Jam, you played some GTA recently. Have you tried out the new online mode that's just been launched, or is that sort of
No.
post-dating when you're in there?
Yeah, I haven't tried the last two that have come out, including the one that came out yesterday.
Oh yeah, I completely forgot we played GTA.
Yeah.
Yeah, we
Just then I was
did.
like, hey, I played
We
GTA.
ended up doing some crazy races. Yeah, I forgot too.
Wacky
That wasn't in my list.
races.
This just
was
in,
cool.
GTA, a completely forgettable game.
Oh, it's not
well,
that. It's
it wasn't
just-
forgettable because I spent like 20 minutes trying to figure out my bloody graphics card again to play that game. Oh, I'm so frustrated.
We played some of the cool, tricksy, jumpy tracks. That
Wall
were,
ride maps.
Yeah, we need to talk about Oliver and
What?
or was it? No, it was Sam. When I made it all the way around, I finally made my first lap, and I've been trying to get that jump all time. Everyone else had finished. Everyone was waiting, and they thought they were going to catch Jam, and I was so happy that I'd made a full lap with no errors, and then they blew me up.
He was waiting.
Sounds like something I would do.
It
I
does.
really was.
so sad.
It was
so
a loop.
sad. They were so happy. They'd spent so much time setting up, so they were so happy. But as soon as it happened, they
Yeah,
were like,
that
"That
was
was
Sam.
great, but we're sorry. We're really sorry."
Yeah, that was Sam.
But I
Do you
just
miss me in that game, Imogen? Do you miss me now? Yeah.
no.
Nah.
I love that. Do you? No, actually.
That's probably fair.
Actually, no.
Well, anyway, the
Solid
new
no.
mode that they have launched as of yesterday is called In and Out. And it challenges...
Great name.
Yeah, I know. It's a terrible name.
Next one, just the tip.
Challenges a team of attackers to steal 8 packages. And...
That would be brilliant if they actually did that.
no. And
The running
Isn't
theme.
In-N-Out
a
a
side
burger chain?
of well-armed defenders has to try and stop the other team from stealing those 8 packages. So apparently there's no official footage released of the mode at the moment, but there's been people, starting to do gameplay videos on YouTube and that sort of thing. But yeah, speaking of gameplay modes with highly suspect names, the last one was called Inch by Inch, don't you?
Yeah.
Yep.
Now I do.
Wow.
Yep. There you go. So
They've got a whole theme going on.
I am amazed that this far after the game's launched, we're still getting decent content like
Have
this.
you seen the figures?
No.
Something like from multiplayer.
The microtransaction stuff.
500 million? Is that what it was?
It's 500
They
million they've made in microtransactions.
Can just comfortably keep adding this
Wow.
stuff. It's extraordinary, and it's such a good game.
Yeah, the game. Yeah, there's always stacks of people on servers. Very rarely would you go on and get your own server and those types of things. So
So has
online
GTA
is still real thing.
Has GTA hit the winning formula that is now sort of being vacated by a lot of the last decade's successful MMOs? I wonder.
It's extraordinary because, there's so much to do. And they just keep adding things to do. From the frivolous to the intensely, strategically, pew-pew.
Yeah,
Fighty,
and it's
fighty,
user-created
cash
stuff as
money.
well. So they're using people's they're using other people's imaginations, looking at and then creating their own content on top of that, as well as the rise of streaming of gaming and things like that. And so people are making their own, famous like the Achievement Hunter guys would make maps, and then you can play those same maps and
it's
those
gorgeous.
types of things. It's just a
Yeah,
Goliath.
the user content is such a driving force for the popularity of that game.
I think same could be said of a lot
Although
of
if I have to do one more
similar-sized
wacky race, I might
games.
shoot myself in the face.
But you love wacky races.
I do when I
Dead air.
finally get the nothing.
Okay, maybe not.
Yeah.
I must admit, I like watching footage of wacky races with people who have a far greater degree of skill at those things than I do. Because for me, it's just a frustrating affair. But when you can watch somebody on a video, piloting a moped in an aerial jump chain that you possibly could not in your wildest dreams achieve on your own.
Moped wacky races?
I don't know. I'm just picking something out of the air, but yeah.
Oh, I really hope there's moped
The
ones.
bicycle stunt ones are so much fun.
I
I don't
love
think we've
the
tried those
bicycle ones,
properly
yeah.
yet.
I don't think
No.
I've tried regular races properly yet.
Oh,
We did the golf cart one on the water. That one was screwed.
Yeah, that
I got
that
really
made
angry doing that
Imogen
one.
Really happy.
Yeah, I got so angry.
The happiest.
Well, rounding topics out tonight, the last one on the list is one relating to Steam. So Steam have just announced that they're actually going to be changing their user review system. So previously what was happening with Steam reviews is it would basically show a complete sort of digest of all reviews for a game. But they're changing it to a new system now by which you actually get just the most recent reviews. So I think it's the last 30 days worth of review information. No, the last 45 days, sorry. No, 30 days, 45 days. One of the two.
Use your words.
Yeah. Let's say it's a number somewhere in between. It's 38 days. Let's just go with that. Someone can correct me later. I don't fucking know. But I think they've got some good reasoning behind it. I mean, they're trying to calculate the positive percentage of reviews within a relevant time period. And it can be said that for games that have had a really shaky launch but have managed to write their vessel sort of immediately after that and actually have a pretty good game available. That it's kind of a good way to do that, where the people who are buying the game after the fact are getting something that's more representative of quality, as opposed to the shaky start that some of the games got and generate a huge amount of negative user reviews, which don't really tell a true picture of what's going on. So I find the whole thing quite interesting. Do you guys often sort of look at the Steam reviews and judge a game that you're considering buying based off that, or do you look
Not
elsewhere?
off those, no.
No?
I usually look at them after
No,
I've already purchased something, out of just curiosity.
Okay. The biggest example I can think of would be a game like Arkham Knight, but I think that's probably a bad example because the user reviews would continue to be negative for that one long after launch. It had issues for quite a while. But Division would be another good one. I think there'd be a lot of user reviews that initially would have been quite positive, but based on recent activity, I wouldn't be surprised if the review scores have gone significantly downwards, which is probably telling a truer picture of where the game's at right now. So a good way for people to be aware of, what they're getting into if they do purchase the game at this stage of its launch. So, but yeah, I think it's good, having more relevant information out there to help, consumers make educated decisions can't be a bad thing if they, take the time to read it. But I think there's still a culture out there for some games of people, just doing wacky stuff with reviews just to, get attention. I think Stardew Valley was a classic example of that, because I had a look at and I posted this to you guys in our chat thread. I had a look at the negative reviews for that game, and some of the negative reviews were people who had glowingly positive reviews. They just wanted to post it in the negative column so that someone would actually read it, because there were so few of them to go through. So, which was kind of weird and hilarious at the same time. But I don't know, people do weird things. Yeah. Have any of you guys actually ever written a Steam review? Is that something you've ever been compelled to do?
Nope.
Nope. Okay. Not contributing at all.
Who would want my
Shame.
opinion on video games? Jeez.
I'm a lurker, man.
I don't know. Who would want to listen to you talking about video games?
This
Oh,
is
yeah.
Maybe
this
4 people.
podcast. Yeah, this podcast goes against my entire being, because I've been a lurker everywhere forever.
Bring you out of the shadows. Let's bring you both out of the shadows to talk about our party game of the month.
So excited! Oh my
All right.
god!
So, Imogen, this was your pick. So I think it's probably only fitting that we put you in the driver's seat for this
My
one and
fault,
get you
yep.
to introduce the game and talk a bit about it before you get our thoughts on it. So, over to you, my dear.
Okay, so the game that I picked for the game of the month that happened by random chance, and I did not choose it, was Hatoful Boyfriend.
Already shifting the blame.
Now, Hatoful Boyfriend is a dating simulator where you date a series of pigeons and birds as a human. That's a good synopsis, I think, and we should just leave it there.
Would it be a visual novel? Is that the category that it fits
Visual,
under?
yeah, a narrative pigeon dating game. There you go. A bird dating game. And basically I heard about this game through lots of different channels, through different podcasts and streaming and everything else, and I thought, you know what, I think this game just sounds weird enough that I think I need an excuse to play it, and our game of the month was my excuse to play this game. So you are a human who attends St. Pigeonations, which is a very elite school for birds. You are the only human who attends that school. You are female.
Took me so long to realise I was a human.
It says
So
right at the
long.
beginning of the game, you are the only human at St.
I
Pigeonations.
missed that completely.
Well, one of the things that can be confusing is there's a setting you can turn on where you actually see human versions of all of the other characters when they are in
Why
fact
did
birds.
I not do that?
Yeah.
Ah.
It gets a bit weird though, because not all of the photos you see
What do
are
you mean
completely
it
human.
gets a bit weird? You're a human at the school for birds.
Weirder than just pigeons and birds, is it?
Well, the reason
Yeah.
why it gets weird when you turn those photos on is because they didn't make human pictures of every single character.
Oh, that's awkward.
There's some of them which are human bodies with bird heads, and it is just bizarre that it's not consistent. So anyway, yeah.
Yeah, because this game
No.
isn't bizarre.
No,
Well,
it's
no,
kind of-
At all.
there is a character. So that there is at least one character whose human version of itself is itself because it's crazy, and it's. I think it's a laugh. It's like a joke at the fact that particular bird, which is Sun, I think his name is, the crazy guy, the runner who likes pudding.
yeah.
It's you basically just choose your own adventuring. So there's no combat or anything that you have to do, although there is a lot of fighting. Well, there was in my game. And I think that the useful place for us to start is for us all to understand that there is multiple endings to this game. And as we talk, this will be a spoiler podcast. So if you've been holding out to play Hatoful Boyfriend and you want no spoilers, then tune out now because the rest will be spoiler-free.
Before you do, probably don't play it because
This is the one game that I pretty much give zero fucks about spoiling for anybody.
Yeah.
Yep, go on.
Yeah, I mean, it was what, $2.40 US?
No, it was $9.95
when I bought
I
it,
think.
so it's not an.
Yeah, it was more when I bought it.
Oh no, mine was $2. So, did you buy special edition, Luke?
No.
Including soundtrack.
You got the limited art book with it.
No, I did not.
Of all of the birds, so that he can hang them on his study wall. So, that's it basically. And so you start off, and the sort of very basic choices you make as to what class you go, and then you can boost stats. Although I'm not really sure how much of a difference that made. I put all of my time into charisma because I thought that if I was going to want my choice of birds, that charisma was going to be the way to go. And
That's
turns
fair.
out that's not the case. You have sort of a best friend who is Ryuta, who is a pigeon.
Mm-hmm.
And then you meet more characters from there, and you basically have to make a choice about what classes you go to, who you side with, whether or not to get a summer job, what courses to take and what clubs to join, and those types of things. And all of those decisions will lead you to an inevitable conclusion, and there is multiple. So how did you guys end your game? Luke, what was your ending?
I'll go last.
Okay, Jam, what was your ending?
Okay. So can I do a little lead up, because certain things happened, and I'm not sure if they happened for everybody or if they happened for me because
Okay, yeah, no, that's fine. Yeah, if you think you know how you got to that conclusion, go for it.
Yeah, well, so throughout the semesters, when we had the opportunity to choose which class we'd go to for our optional classes, I sort of spread myself around so that my stats bumped up all across the board and I saw everybody. Mm-hmm. But I didn't particularly take sides or do anything to express my interest with anyone except help out my friend
yourself.
Ryuta.
Ryota!
Yeah,
Apologies, Japan.
he was cool. He was like the least insulting, the least poncy. So I was like, okay, all right. At one point, I was offered a part-time job at a cafe for some extra money. And then Ryuta came in and was all like, oh, is the job taken? And it turns out he's like trying to work 2 jobs outside of school to look after his sick mother who's in the hospital. And I was like, man, you take the job. I don't need the job. The job is yours. And it was so sad.
I did not make that choice.
Oh. And then we hung out a bit more and some other stuff happened. And basically in the end, the way it aligned was that I was walking home, I think my character was, and I see Ryuta sitting on a park bench or something, and I walk up and I say, hey man, what's up? And he's really sad because his mom's just passed away. And it was so sad and horrible.
Oh, God.
But then one of the things she said to him was, it's okay. You let, and you know, whatever my character name was, I think I called myself Jam Toast or something stupid. Jam Toast is there
Toast
for
all
you.
the time.
Except it's a Japanese game, so it was like Toast Jam. Everyone referred to me as Toast Jam. It's okay. Toast Jam is there for you. She'll look after you, you know,
That's hilarious.
and she'll support you. And it was all sad, and we got all sad together. And then magically, somehow, there was a declaration of undying love. I was like, okay, so I was just trying to be a friend, but all right, that's how that happened.
You got anti-friend zoned.
It was just so weird.
Jam
and
has found the cure.
that took less than an hour. And to be clear, this game has no voice acting, really
it's all text-based.
ordinary music, no animation. It's just like clip art.
Yeah,
it's
punch
quite
sound
basic
effects. Yeah,
and
it's very
brief.
basic.
But it was
Yeah.
funny. I was, you know, I laughed anyway.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's my story.
All right, Ollie.
Alright, mine is a bit more succinct. So, I went for the fanciest looking bird I could find. So I ended up with
Saruta?
Sakuya,
Oh yeah, that's one.
Labelle, Shurigane, or Shurigan, I'm not sure on that last one.
Is that the younger or the older brother?
That's the
think
younger
that's the
one,
younger
the
one.
fantail
Younger one with
Yeah.
the really like super
yes.
puffy.
So
The
I'm
class
consulting
president?
my notes
Yeah,
and I wrote
the one that
Ponce
comes
in
into the
all
classroom
caps.
at the beginning and acts like a massive dick.
Yeah.
basically.
Yes,
Yeah.
but he looked super fancy, so I did what every teenage girl does and goes, I don't care what he does as long as he's hot. So I went with that.
Oh, wow. Ollie. Wow.
Topical. Yay! I'll be in my box now. So yeah, I had to study music every fucking day and get my charisma super fucking high to get this guy. Jesus Christ, it was actually effort.
Did you tell him off at one point? I remember telling him off for not
Yes,
like
I
cleaning
told
up
him
or
off.
something.
And he was like,
for cleaning.
you know what? Because I like you, that's okay.
Yeah.
But I think as if you don't have your stuff up with him, he's like, fuck you.
Yeah.
But not quite like that. Oh my god, this game.
So you ended up with him?
Yeah, I ended up with him.
Okay.
It was interesting.
Well, since you want to go last, Luke, I had an interesting ending because I was focused on music. I thought initially that I wanted to go for the one that you went for, Ollie, the fancy one, because I thought, well, surely if I'm already building charisma, like that will be the one. I was trying to figure out the game, like which one I was going to do. And then I kind of lost focus and I took the job from my best friend who needed it to look after his sick mother and hung out with a really cool budgerigar and somehow went on a run and met a Finch who was in a bike gang, but it was a scooter gang and they all obey the rules of the road because that's important, apparently. Super cool Finch. Zebra Finch, for those playing at home. Continued to work my job, then found out that the handsome budgerigar who'd been like tuning me all summer.
Tuning. Interesting word.
Have you not heard that term? Had been in a relationship with the Zebra Finch before, and there was a confrontation. And then
Dun dun
dun,
dun.
dun, dun. And then we went outside. That all ended, said goodbye to the cafe and ended my job at the cafe. I went outside and I saw the Zebra Finch out there who was looking really sad. We had a confrontation with some pumpkins, some badass pigeons with some cool, like, mohawks and knives and shit. And then we decided that myself and the Zebra Finch, who is a female, by the way, the only female bird in the game, we were going to start our own scooter gang and ride off into the sunset and obey the road rules. So in a game about dating, I ended up not dating anyone. Life.
Oh my god.
So poetic. My added bonus to that before you do yours, Luke, is that I played Hatoful Boyfriend whilst on Mumble with Dave and with Sam, and would just occasionally go, I have to make a choice between this and this, and Dave would just be like, what game are you playing? What is happening?
I need it in my life.
He just couldn't understand. He's like, but you're a human. Why are you a human at a school for birds? What kind of retarded human are you?
Before
Sorry.
Luke goes, I just remembered something else. Did anyone see Ryuta in their playthrough in his other job?
No.
No. Oh, God, you did.
Uh-oh.
Waiting in a dress at a transvestite cafe, called himself Coolene.
Wow.
What?
It was to help his sick mum.
Actually, did you guys notice this? I'd spent apparently 4 days in a math class once and 3 days in a music class. Because
Yes,
it's like,
the days
you go to
skipped ahead.
class, 3 days pass, you're like, oh my god.
So in trying to date the fancy bird as well, I accidentally, because I didn't remember the fancy bird's name, I accidentally invited the narcoleptic teacher to come on a date with me. So fun
Oka-san?
times. Yeah. 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 And for reference, I called myself Mimo Rules, which just mean that I was Rules
Rules
Mimo the whole game.
Was I the only one that remembered that the Japanese put their
Yes.
surname
Yeah.
probably?
Probably.
I
I
actually
suspect so.
wondered whether that would be the case, and yeah, it was. So, yeah, I had to take
All
a
right,
punt.
Luke, go.
Yeah.
This best be great.
All right, so I'll start with who I ended up with because that's by far the least interesting part. I ended up with the brother of Sakura. So
Whoa.
yeah,
You
not,
went for the older man.
not the
Yuya?
I forget the name.
Yuya Shirogane.
Yeah,
that
Shirogane
sounds about
Yuya.
right. Yeah,
Something like that.
Yeah, yeah, and I think that the way that kind of came about was that it's really funny. Like, it seems like almost all of us went for the whole charisma angle, which is exactly what I did too. Like, I just pumped music classes and got all those points as much as I could. And somehow I managed to accumulate a whole bunch of wisdom points as well from just doing well on exams. I don't know how that actually happened.
Yeah, I failed exams a lot.
I passed like all of them. It was weird. Like, I was putting no effort in and still getting
That study, man.
Yeah, it's
Pays
bizarre.
off.
I didn't take a summer job though. I sat on my butt and watched TV, and that was it. So
Wow.
yeah, just did nothing. That was kind of interesting. But yeah, like, I can't remember any other massively key plot points. There was some weird.
Like, you glazed out.
There was some weird
man.
stuff going on with the doctor at the school, who, I think he had some sort of criminal activity going on.
He was weird. He just kind of popped up and he's the big puffy thing.
Yeah, it was
Hello.
bizarre.
You're like, oh.
But the brother of Sakura, or whatever the guy's name is, I forget already, he actually was hitting on me from early on, like way early on. So I don't know what I did that triggered that, but that was like a common theme throughout the entire game. It was almost like pretty clear that was how it was going to end up from the get-go. So yeah, highly bizarre. One thing I will say about this game is that it taught me something completely new that I'd never experienced before.
Hey, what?
Oh.
And that is how to use the Steam refund request system. Because this was not a good game. It was a pile of shit. I'm sorry. I did not enjoy it. It was not my cup of tea at all.
Because you have no soul.
Look, I'm going to say this in all
Embrace
honesty.
the pigeon.
Getting over the theme, like, because the theme is one thing. Like, I appreciate that it's weird and it's wacky and it's kind of, designed to be something, totally, random and bizarre, and that's where a big part of the appeal lies. I just did not enjoy the game. I thought it was a very badly designed game. There were elements of it that just made no sense gameplay-wise, mechanic-wise. Like, just one example was there's, I don't know if any of you use this, but there's actually like a button on the side of the screen that allows you to fast forward through the dialogue.
I was scared to use that in case I missed something important.
Very,
I did that
very
after
good.
I chose the lesson.
Yeah, very, very good call, Ollie, because that's exactly what happened to me. So I pressed it and it skipped a whole bunch of dialogue, and I tried to stop it and there was no way to go back and get what you missed, and there was no explanation about what the button did. So I basically hit it, missed a whole bunch of stuff, and then I was fucked. So yeah, that was annoying. The game did not explain at all how to play. I mean, I know it was simple and all, but you're kind of going through, and it took quite a while before your first actual choice appeared on screen. So you're sort of going through slide after slide after slide and thinking to yourself, is this a game or am I just reading it?
Well, yeah, like I looked it up. It is classified as a visual novel. So it is a novel that you play through. It's like essentially, do you remember the old Steve Jackson Choose Your Own Adventure books?
Oh, yeah, totally remember those. But even those had choices early on. Like, this one took a long time to get to that first crossroad point.
To be fair,
Yeah.
they had a kind of a lot of background they probably needed to cover first
Yeah,
about,
they
that you
wanted
were
to
a human in a school with
Introduce
birds.
characters to.
No,
Yeah.
I'd challenge that. I think it's still quite appropriate to put choices early on while still exploring the background. I mean, they could be relatively inconsequential as far as the impact on the game goes, but just, giving you that feeling that you actually have a part to play as opposed to just being a passenger in that seat, I think is a really important distinction between a game and something that's not a game. And I just felt very early on that it wasn't a game and I wasn't playing, and I was kind of just reading and not really invested in what was going on because I felt like I was not involved, if that makes sense. And it detracted from my enjoyment a lot. Even though I went in expecting that it wasn't going to be my kind of thing, when I realized that it was a lot less of a game than I thought, I enjoyed it a lot less, if that makes sense. Yeah, I mean, it got better, I will admit that, but I still felt that a lot of stuff was just very unexplained. There was a lot of very hazy kind of jokes that didn't quite land for me.
Did you like the puns? The everybody?
So many
There were a
It's a
couple
high
of good
school for
puns, but a lot of
everybody.
them were just, yeah. I thought a lot of them were lazy. to be
Everybody is here.
honest. Yeah. I mean, that one's fine. And the first time you see that, it's kind of amusing. But then you see it the second time, the third time, and the fourth time, and the fifth time. And if I want someone that repeats the same tired or bad jokes, I'll just go and, watch myself on video. So, I don't
At
need that
least
in a game.
he made the joke himself. It was coming
He
from
did.
one of us, for
I
sure.
was ready for it.
Yeah.
I was going to jump on that.
Yeah, so I mean, look, I'm not going to crap on it too much because I think it is what it is, but it was not my cup of tea. And
No, and
yeah.
you know what? what? I've had some great hits with Ori and with Crypt of the Necrodancer, so I was due a bad one. So
If it makes you feel any better, Imogen, I actually liked it for what it was.
I
was
did
like,
too.
this is just an hour of wacky weirdness, and then it's done.
I would have been okay with it
and that's
in
why I
that
wanted to
frame
play
too,
it.
if it was actually a decent game at the same time in terms of the mechanics. But I just
I
thought
just
it
treated it like a book, basically, and then it was okay.
I have another question for everybody. Did
Okay.
anyone have the story play out about the student ID that was found and the missing student?
no,
No, I only saw the bit with the ID being found. That was all.
I never saw the
No.
ID.
Oh, okay. I was just curious.
There is
Yeah.
a way to date every single character in it, apparently, including
In the
like,
same
the
playthrough.
Doctor, I think.
God damn.
Because that's exactly
No,
what
no,
I
no.
want out of life. I want to
Oh,
go
no, no,
into
no,
a
no,
game
yeah.
and date
Gotta
flying
pick up all the
vermin.
birds.
Yeah. Sing. I have to admit, about halfway through the game, I'm like, right, I'm actually playing a girl, not a boy. Like, I just got really confused about
Wait
gender.
a minute.
Wait a minute. Oh, that's right, they're all guys. Yeah, no, I agree with Ollie. Like, this is why I wanted to play it. I knew it was going to be just a bit of a shitfest in terms of, making sense.
Being an actual good game.
But I kind of like that. I kind of like that someone went, this is a great game. And whether or not it's a little bit hinky because it's a port from a Japanese game, I'm not entirely sure, but that could be possible. Because obviously
to
it
talk
is
about.
anime based. Yeah, it's fun to talk about. It's fun. Like, we've all had experiences. We can talk about the choices we made. I joined a scooter gang, which is something I've always had on the bucket list.
I got some nobility action.
Oh, nice. Yeah. Good job. I am interested to, like, that no one chose the narcoleptic teacher, but we know no one's bringing up the fact that the teacher wants to date the students, which is a little bit weird, but, Japanese,
bit
anime,
strange.
it's fine. That's fine. And, I feel a little bit bad that Ryota had to work extra shifts being a transvestite pigeon.
I know that now, and that actually, I wish I saw that. That would have been so hilarious.
That would have been the best. Although I have to say that I am glad that I went down the path where I got to encounter the punctions on multiple occasions.
Oh, that just sounds awesome.
It is. It's just pictures of pigeons with like little mohawks and flick knives.
God.
Ollie, you're really concerning me tonight.
It just sounds so dumb and funny, and I like dumb and funny.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
like them too. That's why we
Yeah.
like to do the show.
There was something about the cafe as well where they just kind of went way into the bird theme, and they were like talking about like having to pick stuff up and how could they do that because they were birds, and he made a joke about it'd be handy to have like a human around.
Yeah.
No shit.
How does your society function if you're all birds?
Yeah.
It's just,
How do you build houses?
and that's what Dave kept asking. I don't understand. How does this actually work? I'm like, Dave, I don't think it's supposed to
roll
make
with it.
sense.
Yeah,
Just
I
roll
don't
with
think
it.
they thought through all of the physics of this game to that
Oh,
extent.
they didn't, and that's what made it brilliant. Like, can you imagine, like, a class of birds sitting on desks? Like, sitting on the chairs at the desks? Like, how the fuck does that work?
At
That's
one stage,
ridiculous.
I had to choose between Ryota and somebody else who were fighting the class. I think it was the fancy bird, and I had to choose one or other to side with, or to just like tell them both to shut up or whatever.
So what does that
And I
actually
chose one
mean when
side,
you're
and
the
it-
human? Do you just like kick one of them out of the way, or how does that
Well,
actually
that's what I
function?
thought. I thought it was
pick it up and go,
I thought
"No."
it previously, I just had like a conversation and said, no, you shouldn't do that kind of thing. But no, when I chose the side, I threw the other one out the window, and I'm like, well, that's never a bird.
Did you open the window first?
I don't know. Just said you threw so and so out the window. I was like,
Well,
oh.
conveniently they can fly,
Aw.
so...
That's what I said. I was like, that's handy. I hope we're on the ground floor.
Wait, through who? Was it Ryuta?
I don't think it was Ryuta. I feel
Oh,
like it was
good.
not Ryuta. Because then I went downstairs and there was another fight happening with the man the bird who liked pudding.
Wow, that's
was
a
a
lot of
weird
fights.
bird.
Oh, did he use his
I
wing
had
attack?
so many fights. Yes, he uses wingtail attack. It was super effective.
That
Was
funny.
my other thought about the game mechanics too. Like the stats, they never explain to you what they actually mean.
It aligns
Oh,
you with the
Luke.
characters you're after. So there's the book-loving pigeon in the library. So if you
The
went
shy,
with
retiring
wisdom, you'd probably be a little more inclined to align with him. The charisma was for the fantail pigeons, the ponces. And the... What was the other one?
Health.
Can't even
I mean,
remember.
I don't
oh,
need
the
to know
physical
the-
fitness was the crazy guy on the track.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
the
I
runner.
don't need to know the exact result of using each of those stats, but just a little bit of information as to why it might be
Oh,
relevant
come
and why I
on.
might want to give a crap about it. That
Come
would
on,
So
you're
when
a
you
gamer.
said-
You could have drawn those parallels.
Figure that out.
Exactly.
I
That's
don't
what
know.
I
Figure
got.
that shit out.
Yeah, think like a dev, Luke. Think like a dev. So when you just chose not to have a job and like to sit on your butt and watch TV, was it just like fast forward until the end of summer, or did you literally have like a day? Today you watch TV. It was great.
There was one or two slides, I think, that explain what happened. But yeah, it was pretty much just you did nothing. So
Wow, because I went on a whole adventure.
what was the deal with the slide numbers too? Like I never actually got that. You know, the numbers
It's
up in
the
the top
date.
left corner.
I didn't even notice them.
It was the date.
Is that what it was?
It's an American format, so month first.
There you go. See, I played it a month ago. I literally had finished it an hour after we rolled the dice, determining which game we were playing this month. So I've written some
Jam
notes down,
already
but I'm
knew
fussy
that it was
on
going to
the
be
rest.
hilarious.
I envy you, Jam, because I wish I had that much time behind me to push it out of my brain.
Jeez.
Anyway, should we move on to next month's game?
Yep. What do we got?
Sure.
All right, so we have the list. Who's going to be our random number generator tonight? Any
I
volunteers?
do not have a dice in front of me, so
Nor do I.
All right, well, I do.
I have one if needed.
Yep, you go, Ollie. So,
All right, hold on. Let me open my really loud drawer.
convincing dice noise.
all
All
right.
right, here comes the dice noise. Can you hear it?
Yep.
I can hear it.
We have a number 3.
Ooh.
Interesting one. So we have Ancient
I have no idea what that
Domains
is.
of Mystery, otherwise
What the fuck is
called ADOM, which has been suggested by our listener Lucas Colley via Facebook. So I don't know a whole bunch about this one other than the fact that it
job,
looks
Lucas.
like a
Oh.
narrative game of some sort.
Adam
Go,
is
Jen.
one of the most successful roguelike games ever created, boasting a brilliant mix of story, RPG, exploration, and intensely strategic and flexible combat.
Ooh.
That's the first line.
Cool.
I will say this, that I've known Lucas for a long time, and if he's suggesting a game, it's good. So
Okay.
I'm looking forward to
Sweet.
it.
Cool.
I'm looking up the trailer.
All right. Sweet. All right. So the way this works is basically we have a month now for all of us to grab the game, check it out, and play it. And we will be discussing it on the podcast the 1st of next month. Basically, so the first podcast in June, we will give our
June.
thoughts.
We're already at June?
I know. What the hell?
Oh my god. Oh, I'm having a heart attack. Okay.
So everybody,
Okay.
you're on task
Stay
now.
calm, play Overwatch.
We've got to cram this in amongst Overwatch. That's the challenge.
I hope it's not good, so that way it's an easy cram and I just go cool down.
It sounds involved. I think I,
have
might
now
get involved.
purchased it.
Yeah. Well, that was quick. Nice.
Don't fuck around here.
No,
No.
we do not. So, speaking of that, don't fuck around. Send us some suggestions because we need suggestions to keep the ball rolling with regards to playing cool new games. So, you can send us suggestions for our party game of the month in a few different places. You can hit us up on Twitter, which is @PartyLoadedShow. You can hop on to Facebook, which is facebook.com/partyloaded, and drop us a comment there with the game that you're suggesting. You can send us an email directly at mail@partyloaded.com. Ideally, the games that we're looking for, we have a few basic guidelines. So the first one is that it needs to be a game that is not console exclusive. If it's PC only, that's fine because we can all play it, but we don't want anything that's only on Xbox or only on PS4, for instance. We want something that's available to all of us. Must be available via digital distribution because we don't want to be venturing into stores and picking up discs because that is crazy.
Ugh, outside.
That's, going outside, just bad.
Not the people.
It needs to be $30 or under and needs to
When
be
did
something
it get
that
to
we can...
$30?
Yeah, I thought it was
I thought
15.
it was lower.
Oh, stop being peasants.
We've always been 30.
Ollie's
and-
gifting us all of our games.
Yeah.
Needs
Nope,
to be something that
that's
we can
Sam.
get a reasonable
Yeah.
opinion on for less than 10 hours worth of play. So we want to be able to, hit it up for a bit of time, but not a crazy amount of time. So don't be suggesting any, Skyrims or, that's a bad example because that's more expensive. But yeah, you get the picture.
Recommend Skyrim. I would totes like to play that all month. Thank you.
I would be okay with that.
Nice. So yeah, we've still got a bunch of good suggestions on the list, and the four of us, of course, always have a horse in the race too. And we've had a few of those come up already with varying degrees of success.
I've had 2 already.
Yeah,
Oh,
that's
yeah.
right.
Also,
Oh,
I
like
have,
one.
I have a bullshit story of the week to add, which Ollie's sort of vaguely referenced just now. So my brother just decided to play some Counter-Strike with some friends. Hasn't played in ever, if at all.
Counter-Strike
This is
Global
amazing,
Offensive,
by
by
the
the way.
Yes, CS:GO.
Amazing.
And he gets some... What are they? I don't even know what
you
they
get
are.
a loot crate.
Loot
Do you want me
crates.
to just tell it so I actually know the details?
Well, no. So he gets 2 loot crates. So he's like, I'll spend a couple of bucks, open the first one. And he gets this,
skin that his friends haven't seen ever, that he managed to sell for, 20 USD, real world cash. He was so excited. So he spends a couple of bucks, opens up the next one. He gets this knife skin that goes for over $300 American. Like, it's bullshit. My brother has the most bullshit luck. So now I've got to be really nice to him and ask him to buy me games.
CSGO
I
players.
wasn't even nice. I just told
Crazy.
him to.
I know, he's got over 350 USD in his Steam wallet because of the loot box that he got after
Neck
playing
minutes
for like
target
an
of
hour.
hackers.
Oh my god.
So, Jam, how does he feel about games involving dating pigeons?
He'll, slap
He
you
can
or
sponsor
something.
our podcast.
No, we just need to find some really cute, like, small, cheap multiplayer games. Be like, oh, Sam, wouldn't it be so much fun if we all
Armed
played
and
this?
gelatinous. Armed and gelatinous.
Yes.
By the way, everyone should go check out Armed and Gelatinous. That game is legit. And I've just found out that it's available on Steam. I'm very excited.
Alright,
Nice. All right,
let's wrap this up. I need to play some Overwatch.
let's go play some Overwatch. Sounds good. All right.
Fun.
So,
bye.
until next week, play some more games and see you then.
Bye.
The Party Loaded podcast is a Channel Endgame production. For this and more great gaming content, bookmark channelendgame.com.